Hi, ThatPaulGuy. Say you're getting back into PC gaming and you haven't been in it that much for a while. Your keyboard's a little bit older and you're looking at getting a new one. You want to buy a mechanical keyboard, but they're so darn expensive, and everybody wants an arm and a leg because it's, gaming keyboards have RGB and this and that and the other thing. So what I did is I made a list. And first of all, they had to be gaming type keyboards. They had to be mechanical or mechanical-like. I didn't care if they were RGB or what color or anything like that. That was fine with me. They did have to be readily available, which means no slow boat. They had to be under 30 bucks because I didn't want to invest a whole lot. And a lot of people out there aren't going to have a lot of extra money to spend $100 or $150 on a mechanical keyboard. Now, what I did do is I found three of them. I found one by Giixer, Giixer. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. It's an 87 key. It's an RGB. And this is not a mechanical, but it's a mechanical-like. So we're going to see what it's like. One from Pictek. All three of these are wired, by the way. They're not wireless. This, again, is an RGB. It's in black. Mechanical. This is supposed to be MX Cherry Blue equivalent, which is a little bit softer, a little bit quieter than I usually like, but it's supposed to be equivalent type switches. And one from Mage G. Now, I don't remember what exact model number or anything like that I ordered on Amazon. I did find all three of these readily available. I didn't have to wait for them very long. Out of the three, I can tell you that although the Giixer seems to be the one that is most retail ready packaged, this is the one that feels the heaviest, and it seems to be the largest. So we're going to open them up and check them out, and then we're going to give you my thoughts at the end of it. All right, so the first one out of the gate is the Giixer, or I guess it's Giixer or Giixer or something like that, Giixer. This is the first one, the only one that is not a mechanical keyboard. This one's actually a mechanical-like, they say, and it's the only one that came in sort of a retail type package. All of these did come pretty well packaged. They all, when you're looking at them, they all came wrapped pretty well. The advantage of this one does have a braided cable, which surprised me quite a bit. Has its own little sheet for all the shortcuts and stuff like that. It's an 87 key keyboard. It's a 10 keyless, but one thing you will notice right out of the box, it's got some flex in it. That and there's not that click type feel that you have from a mechanical keyboard. It's not bad. The larger keys have a little bit more play in them, especially the shift key right there. I'm not too fond of that. They've got a little bit more play in them than the other keys, but everything feels pretty consistent except for those, and the shift key right there being the worst one. Okay, it's RGB modes. You have literally a green, blue, fading to red, a blue, red, then green, a blue, sort of purplish yellow color, and off. And it is all three colors, or all three colors on, or all three colors off, and they switch. There is no actual addressable where it's blue or green or red or anything like that, or some color combination in between. So right off the bat, that's a little yeah. I'm not sure if I'm loving that or not. Let's see here. So that is the intensity. That works. Brightness up and down is not bad. And the feel of the keys is not really bad. I can't complain about that. All right, next one. This is a mechanical keyboard made by Pictek. It's a model PC244A. The one by Giixer, by the way, did not have a model number on it. This one thing I love right out of the box, it comes with a keycap puller. So automatically, it's in my good graces. Just trying to pick it up and take it out, you notice immediately that there is a little bit different feel to it. And it is, in fact, a mechanical type feel. Although, I do notice right off the bat, all of these are supposed to be mechanical-like, and they're all supposed to be modeled after the blue switches, Cherry MX Blue switches, and that is not I'm going to have to say, if anything, that's more of a red feel. I don't know. I might have to play with it a little bit. It's not a bad feel, but one thing I do notice is the keys, just playing around with it like that, they don't really feel consistent across all the keys. No, we have different types of light shows. Yeah, so it's not addressable. They're not going to change. You're going to have a red, yellow, green, blue, and violet type pattern. One thing I will say is it's much, much sturdier. It does not flex as much. It does flex a little bit. Not nearly as much as the Giixer keyboard did. And these are most definitely mechanical type switches, although these are supposed to be cherry blue equivalents. They don't feel that much off, but they also don't feel very, very consistent across all the keys. And in fact, I think you can hear a little bit of the difference between them. Yeah, you can probably hear a little bit of the difference in the way they click and the consistency. All right, so the last keyboard we've got feels heavier than the other two, just picking up the box itself. This one's by Mage G. Doesn't appear to be an actual model number on it. It just says it's a mechanical keyboard. Again, all of these were under $30. And if I remember right, this one I had the chance of ordering an RGB or red. The RGB was $45, the red one was $28, and I was trying to keep it under $30 for all of them, so that's what I did. Does have a shortcut manual, which is great. All three of these did seem to come packaged very well, where they wouldn't be torn up or or anything like that. This one most definitely is the heaviest of the three. And it's also the stiffest. There is the least amount of flex. I like that. And that most definitely, that has a good feel, but that's definitely more of a red than it is a blue. Blue is a little bit more subtle. It's quieter. These are very loud and clicky, which I happen to like. I still like the MX Cherry Red, but that's definitely a louder, more clicky type sound, and you can feel the difference. Oh, that's a nice feature. That's something the other ones didn't have. My WASD, and the arrows are lit, so if I am gaming and it is darker, I know exactly where I need to be putting my base fingers for whether I'm right-handed or left-handed. So that's a nice touch there. I do appreciate that. I'm a pretty good fan of the WASD lighting up, if that was the only thing I've got lit up or only thing I'm using. So that's pretty nice in itself. But overall, if I'm picking out of the three, I have to say that I like this one the best. It feels the best. It's the heaviest. It feels the most consistent across. And even though the RGB lighting it has several different types of light shows and all that stuff, even though it's only one color instead of all the multicolors, at least this is a consistent color. And I don't have several different colors, and all I have is just the array of that. I'm not sure I like the different sorts of light shows that I get, where all of them are lining up and all that stuff. That might be a little bit unnerving. But I definitely do like the WASD lighting up and the arrow keys. Okay, so after playing Destiny 2 for quite a while, I played it because it's a shooter, I'm very familiar with it, and I don't have to think about where my fingers are on the keyboards most of the time to try to figure out where I'm doing and what I'm doing, where I'm going and stuff like that. I've decided that the winner probably has to be the one by MageG. Very, very satisfying click, although it's more, like I said, NMX cherry type sound. It's very consistent all the way across the entire keyboard. I do like the way that the ASWD switches light up. I also like the way the arrows light up, and I can turn all the rest of the colors off. What I found when I was playtesting is that the RGB really didn't bother me, but out of the corner of my eye, those being lit did kind of help me recenter things. I like the way it was laid out, and I like the way it felt when I had my fingers across it. And I did some checking. This is one of the first ones I checked, and I went back at the very end and I checked it just to make sure I wasn't imagining things or my hands weren't getting tired, my fingers weren't getting tired as I went through the motions. After the one by MageG, the one I thought was probably the next best was the one by Giixer, Giixer. Like I said, have no idea if I'm saying that right. It felt the most consistent besides the MageG, but it felt much slower. It felt as I was moving the keys, my reactions on the screen or my movement wasn't as quick. It did seem to take a little bit longer. There did seem to be just a little bit of lag. And I wasn't sure if that was part of my imagination until I switched back to the mechanical and noticed that it was much faster reacting, and it didn't seem to be my imagination. It did feel good. It was a good size, so my fingers were able to spread out and all that stuff, and they didn't get tired playing it. But I could definitely tell. There's a big difference between that and a mechanical type feel. Although for what it is, it was pretty decent. I can't really complain. And again, the RGB didn't bother me at all. I didn't think about it after a few minutes. So the light show didn't bother me at all, and I did enjoy playing it. The one that unfortunately ended up being the last on the list was one by Pictek. Although it is mechanical, and it does probably feel and sound a little bit more like the cherry blue than the other one. It wasn't as consistent all the way through. I noticed that some of the keys didn't feel right. They didn't have the same feel as some of the other keys. And the keyboard is, even though it's the same width, the height of it or the depth of it was a little bit shorter, so my fingers got cramped. Now if you have smaller hands, you might not have a problem, but I noticed it was very tiring very quickly. After about 25-30 minutes of playing with that keyboard, my fingers really started to hurt. And I lost track of sometimes where the keys were because they seemed to be closer together or something. I don't know. There just seemed to be something a little bit off. So all that being said, folks, the one I would pick up or the one I would go with would be the MageG. You can find it on Amazon. I think it was like 28 bucks. Overall, I felt this was the most consistent overall. It felt the best. Even after I went back to this, after playing with the other two keyboards, my fingers were able to relax a little bit more, and I was able to play for another probably 35-40 minutes without any problem at all. And it wasn't until I just got tired of playing the game that I decided to put it away. So overall, that was the one I'd go with. So although I would much rather have one that has a numeric keypad, I probably could get into using a 10 keyless, and it does the job. So this would be my recommendation. Like I said, you can find it on Amazon. I'm sure you can find it on Newegg or something like that as well. But the MageG keyboard was the one that worked for me. So I hope this might help somebody out there that's looking to get a mechanical keyboard. I don't want to say on the cheap, but less expensive. And I'm going to have to say it was a pretty decent gaming experience with it overall. So that's what I got for right now, folks. As always, you're welcome to share, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down. Leave me any kind of messages, notes, feedback, anything like that. Do you have a mechanical keyboard? Do you like it? What kind are you using? Is it an RGB or is it just straight one color, or what's the deal? And how do you feel after trying to play with, for half hour, 2 hours, whatever, and getting really involved in it? Do you feel it in your fingers, or is it very, very comfortable for you? Like I said, but that's all I got for right now. So until later on this week, folks, I'll see you later.